What's up guys, it is Aaron and welcome back to the channel. Now today this video is aimed at people who are trying to buy their first RC or people who are trying to buy a second-hand RC. I'm going to cover both those topics as well in this video, and the reason I'm doing this is because I've seen so many people on my videos of the how to build your RC car or slash fix your RC car. I've had people ask how do I buy my first RC, what second-hand RC car should I buy, that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of things we're going to cover in this video. Alright, if you guys could please drop a like as well, it helps me out a lot if you guys like the video or not. Like or dislike, I don't really mind, it lets me know whether you guys like my content or not like my content that I'm doing. So what I'm going to cover first is price. Well, what the whole thing is, I'm going to cover how to buy your first ever RC car, hobby grade RC car. And the price is what I'm going to be more concerned about. If you're buying your first RC car, obviously you're not going to want to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on your first ever RC car and not know what you're due. Drive the car about, lose control of it and waste hundreds of pounds more or less on your first RC car, which I've seen people do before. Unfortunately, I've seen one of my friends buy a really cool Traxxas Summit, and he was driving it about, and he wasn't looking where he was going, he wasn't looking where he was driving, and a car comes over and runs over the car. The other thing you're going to really want to look out for is what kind of motor you have inside the car, whether it's brushed or brushless. For me, you're going to want to start off with brushed. You get a lot of torque, but the speed of the car doesn't overpower you. You can have very good control over the car, and you want to make sure it's not like a 5-turn or a 9-turn motor. You want to make sure it's like a 20-turn brushed motor or a 22-turn brush motor, because those have a lot of torque but not a lot of speed, so you can get a feel for your first ever RC car, and you can feel about what controls are like, and you can slowly work your way up to brushless. Talking about my friend and how his truck got run over with an actual real car, you're going to want to make sure that where you live is good for driving an RC car about. I'm very lucky, I live in a nice little cul-de-sac where everyone's really friendly and there's not a lot of people driving about, so I can easily go off, drive about in a circle or out onto the road, and there'll be barely any cars. There's heaps of roads out here that are barely ever used at all, so there's like 1 or 2 cars that come by and there's like no one really there, so that's me being very lucky. But if you don't have that kind of area, you might need to go to a park or something, or try and go to some field. Make sure you ask permission from the field owner first to go into their field, because again, you're not going to want to be trespassing, breaking laws and risking getting charged. About where to drive it, you're not going to want to drive it in a really crowded place, even if it's at a park. Don't drive it in a crowded place, because you could easily hit someone, or if a dog's chasing you your RC car, I've had that happen to me before. The dog could damage the car, you could accidentally hurt the dog, or just something awful could happen basically. What you're going to want to look out for is age, is how old you are, because there are age limits on the RC cars, like it says 12 plus or 16 plus. They're not there to just dick you over and, you know, make you feel like you're not old enough for one of the cars. It's just because of health and safety reasons and stuff like that. Because if, let's just say, an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old drives a RC car that's meant for a 16-year-old, they could lose control of the car, they could hit themselves, hit somebody else's car, hit someone else, and there's loads of other things as well, and the battery could blow up or anything like that. Basically, it's for your own safety and other people's safety as well. That's why the age limits are there. And whenever I see a video of someone letting their kid drive their RC car that's like 60 miles an hour, I don't like that at all, because they could easily lose track of where they are. They could easily lose interest in the car and not focus and not pay attention and just not care about where they're driving, and there could be a whole load of accidents there. So just stick to the age limits of the cars. So brushed RC cars are usually like 12 plus, so if you're 12, that's good, you can go out and buy your first RC car. If you're not 12, just wait a wee while till your first car, until you're 12, because again, it's for your safety and for other people's safety as well. A lot of people, when they're buying their first RC car ever, they tend to not look at the level of build. So basically that means if it's a ready to run car, RTR, or almost ready to run, ARTR, or a build. Usually the ready to runs are level 1s or level 2s, the almost ready to runs are level 3s, and the builds are level 4s and 5s, depending on what kind of build you want to do. But again, for your first RC car, you're just going to have a level 1 car, You know, nothing too special, nothing too expensive. You want to be spending as well, you want to be spending around about £50 to £100 on your first RC car. Nothing more, nothing less than that. Because again, you're not going to want to be spending like £300 or £400 on a big expensive car. Crash it and waste all your money. Another topic as well is save money for parts, because you will break your RC car. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth of plastic. Plastic will break eventually. It doesn't matter what kind of car you have, it will break eventually. And you want to make sure you have money left over to buy parts and to fix it. Or if you're going to buy the car, buy parts that go with it as well. So when you break it, you're not having to go online and wait for your car, wait for the parts to come so you can get your car back up and running. The main couple of things that you want to look out for when you're buying your first RC car. I'm going to move on to buying a second-hand RC car. Because there's a lot of things going on with eBay or other websites like that, like Gumtree, and trading cars. You know, I'm going to be covering all of that. When you're buying your first RC car, you want to look at the price. Luckily for me, I can tell the price of something. I can tell if it's worth this amount of money or if it's not worth that amount of money. Someone in my work sold their car for for 250, and she didn't tell me the age of the car, if there's any damage on the car or anything. She just told me what kind of car it was. I knew straight away how much it would have been to sell it, and how old the car is. So that's just me. Luckily that's just one talent that I have. If you don't have that talent, then there's other things you can do to recognize if it's worth the price or not. If a car is like £500 and it's needing parts, don't get it. If a car is like £100 or something and it's been damaged, but it's nothing too serious, then you can easily go out and buy it and just work on it, get parts for it, search up what kind of parts you need before you actually buy a second-hand car, because you can never know what is wrong with the car until you actually get it. What the fuck does that say? I have the writing of a fucking 10-year-old. Condition is something you're going to want to look at as well, because if a car's in good condition, then that's really good. You've just got to look out for photos, which I'll cover in a second. If a car's in good condition and the guy says that it needs this or it needs that, or if it's broken or if it's used, again, if it's used, you want to look out for good condition or it needs parts or anything like that. That's just something to look out for. Off condition as well, you're going to want to look properly at the photos, zoom in on the photos if you can, because a lot of the time people will try and cover up stuff with an RC car body, or they'll try and put something in place or put something in front of something that's broken. That's something that you're going to want to look out for as well. They could say that it's been used but it's in perfect condition, there's nothing wrong with the car. But you're just going to want to make extra sure that you look at the photo properly. A lot of people as well, when they're going off and buying a car, they'll look at it and say, oh, that's a really, really cool car, I've got to get that one. And they buy it instantly without reading the description properly. You always want to read the description before you buy something. I know it's something boring and not a lot of people like to do that. They want to just buy something and get out of the way and have fun. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You can get really screwed over if you don't read the description properly, because you could buy £200 worth of a used RC car and it could have nothing on it. It could have no electronics, no gears, nothing. So that's something you're really going to want to look out for. This is going to sound a bit strange, and it is going to sound off like going off of condition, but it's also not at the same time. You're going to want to look at weak points in the car. Now that is going off condition, but also that's going off of what kind of model it is. Whether it's a Traxxas or whether it's a low-end Animus or anything like that, or an FTX or a Savage XS, you get the point. But you're just going to want to look for weak points on the car so you can plan ahead for things that you're going to need to replace. So look at A-arms, the suspension, the dog bones, what's plastic, what's not plastic, the screws, the body posts, all that kind of stuff. Just make sure what parts are plastic, what parts are actually metal, read the description, and the description should give you all the information. But if you're still left with questions from reading a description, you can easily contact the seller and get stuff from them, get the history of the car as well, which is really good to get as well, getting what he's had to replace and everything like that, so you know what you might have to replace in the future if you decide to buy a second-hand RC car. That's just the main things to look out for when you're buying your first RC car or buying a second-hand RC car. You've just got to be careful what you're buying, what website you're buying off of, make sure that it's in good condition, make sure the website you're buying off of isn't fake. And you've just got to put trust in yourself and trust in other websites to not be douchebags. If you guys found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. That would mean so much to me. If you guys could like, subscribe, and share it to friends, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!